Hello there, welcome back to another show. Today I'm going to look at films that are very enjoyable despite brazen stupidity within them. You know, we all understand this one. You know, a film that you have complete contempt for on an IQ level that you've seen like way too many times. Films that are obviously flawed, that either they didn't turn out the way the director wanted, they were hacked by the studio, or they're always inherently stupid that you still can enjoy. Some of them are enjoyable films genuinely, and other ones are guilty pleasures, but there's something about certain films that really make you want to have fun with them. And so I'm going to start with a good one. We'll start with a good one and then we'll work our way down. We'll start with Cliffhanger. I mean, most Stallone films can be on this list, but I'll start with one that is genuinely fun, even though the plot is kind of dumb. I mean, basically it's terrorists steal these bearer bonds from a plane. The plane crashes and the bonds are over 3 locations on the mountains. They hijack 2 of the 2 rescue climbers and they have to go from place to place to find the money and then get off the mountain before the authorities come and find them. It's an enjoyable film. It's a really enjoyable film. It's also a Stallone film where he has to be the hero and you have like really tawdry, like emotional stuff, like him and Michael Rooker don't like each other, who are this other climber, because of this opening scene where Rooker's girlfriend died in a climbing accident that he blames Stallone for. And that's the best scene in the film. That's just pure, even though even there the dialogue's terrible. The dialogue's terrible throughout this film. It's awful throughout the film. It's way overwritten. But whenever you just get visual scenes, it always kind of works. And just this one scene with this woman stuck in this line. The line was breaking. Stone has to go and try and save her. He fails. It looks amazing in the cinema. It's still very enjoyable. After that, the film's not quite as good. You get the set piece that was big at the time where they steal the money from the plane and it all goes wrong. It looked great then. Nowadays, you've seen all these new Mission Impossible movies and the Dark Knight movies, which had the same trick but done a lot better. It looks a bit dinky, really. It doesn't have the same effect. But the film works because all the stuff they shoot on the mountains looks great. I mean, it looks really great. The plot is like really ridiculous. It's like you'd leave instantly if you could, because the thing went wrong. If you're the villain, just get off the mountain. Just get off the mountain and leave. You lost. You don't need to get this money. And you go try and get the money, and they're awful criminals, and they're just terrible people, and Stallone and his people take them out one by one. And it's utterly hokey in every possible way, and it's so enjoyable. Every dumb line, every silly bit. It's full of stuff, people doing things. It's like, why are you doing this? But it's still so enjoyable. Every dumb thing in this film is enjoyable. It's Rennie Harlin's best film. You know, Rennie Harlin can't make intelligent films, but every so often he can make a fun film like this that really works. I mean, this and A Long Kiss Goodnight are his best films. They're the most enjoyable films. So since I ripped apart his Exorcist movie a couple of weeks ago, I thought I'd show one he did that was good. So yeah, I mean, this one is great fun, but it's so stupid. Now we go to a John Carpenter movie that pains me to bring up, but I kind of have to, which is Ghost of Mars. I adore Ghost of Mars. Ghost of Mars does not work. It's based on Assault on Precinct 13, but on Mars, with some dodgy effects and a very tired John Carpenter directing it, because you can sense his energy is not there in a lot of the scenes. Anything on an action scene is basically covered, but I don't think he has much enthusiasm. He's more enthusiasm for the atmosphere, but even that's overdone. The acting's pretty rank. I mean, Ice Cube is the criminal who has to help them escape because everyone's getting possessed. The whole idea is these people getting possessed by ghosts of Mars. It's really silly, but really enjoyable because it's so silly, and it's like, it could have been done in a creepy way because it's an action movie. It's done in a very campy way, and it's nobody in this film really works. but it kind of worked in its own way because people say all the wrong stuff. And you expect a lot more from John Carpenter in this film. This film is a mess. But god damn it, I've watched this film so many times. I saw it in the cinema. I will happily watch it so many times more. You know, I have no guilt for this one. This is great, even though it doesn't work. And the plot is stupid. The Ghost of Mars thing does not work at a plot level. It needed a completely different attitude of it's a horror movie and a lot of creepiness to make it work. And they don't really have that, and it's too much action. I mean, if shoot and go people who turn into ghosts, and if you shoot them, they'll possess someone else. Why are you still shooting them? You have to have something else to do, but they have lots of scenes where people getting shot because it's meant to be an action movie. It ignores its own premise. And it's something Carpenter doesn't normally do. It's like really weird, but it's still kind of enjoyable. Okay, next we have Escape from Vampire Island. I'm not talking about the anime, I'm talking about the live adaptation. That's live action adaptation, which is really stupid. It's terrible, but it's wonderful. I really enjoyed this one. I have no excuse for this one. This one is terrible. This one is lots of running around, lots of terrible acting. I've really enjoyed it. I've no defence of this one. This one I'd highly recommend watching if you have a few drinks and you. This will be good fun. I mean, you have to read subtitles, but it's a lot of fun, but it does not work. It's about a guy who has to go back to this vampire island to save people, and they're fighting all these vampires, and the vampires kind of sometimes feel like zombie-ish, and it's utterly ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You know, but it's so enjoyable. It's really, it's one of those films that if it was any better, it wouldn't be any fun. If it was any worse, it wouldn't be any fun. But it's just the right level of bad to make it a lot of fun. It's really enjoyable, even though it's in no way a good film. Now we have U-571, the submarine movie with Matthew McConaughey from the early 2000s. Another ridiculous film, another stupid film. But it's a submarine film, and I love submarine films. I'll happily watch anything. It's a submarine film, I'll watch it. You know, I like submarine films. And this one's a corker. They're trying to steal the Enigma code, the German code that was actually solved by Brits. And nothing to do with this plot whatsoever. They made it all up for this film. And basically, it's McConaughey's in a boat. He's a submarine guy. He's second command. He has to go with Bill Paxton, who plays his captain. They go and raid this German submarine to get the code breaker. This ship gets blown up, so they're stuck in the submarine, which they can't read any of the German wording. They have a small crew aboard, and they have to get to the English Channel with this Enigma machine, you know, so people know how the Germans communicate. It's insane, it's stupid, it's a joy. I love when I saw it in cinema. It's ridiculous. There's lots of scenes where they have all the underwater booms and the soundtrack is crazy. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's really ridiculous. It's a ridiculous film in every possible way. But it works as a dumb film. Harvey Keitel's in it as an old sea dog, and he's great in a kind of Harvey Keitel weird way. McConaughey's still very young, and he's got a lot of his action tics that he grew out of, but he's still got them in this one. But it's still really enjoyable. It's really silly, but I'd have to watch it tomorrow, you know. So there's that one. Okay, now we've got, well, of course we have to have a Roland Emmerich film. And I'm going to choose 2012 because it is monumentally stupid, even for a Roland Emmerich film. I mean, he has gone dumber recently with, you know, Independence Day 2, but this one is so stupid, but it's so wonderful. Basically, the end of the world, John Cusack, who looks like he's wondering what the hell he's doing in this film. He's the guy, he's a author who's not very successful. When the world ends, he has to try and save his family, you know, because he's a limo driver by day because he's an author by night and he's failing. And so he gets his family out of the area and try and get them to the location where the survivors are going to be to survive this end of the world scenario. You've Woody Harrelson as this weird guy in the mountains who's predicted the whole thing. You've got LA destroyed. You've got various other countries destroyed. You have all these caricatures they run into on the way, like some Russian mafia people who are jolly. You'll get and based on the Noah's Ark at the end, where they go into these boats and have to escape into the boats and try and survive. It's awful. It's genuinely awful. Again, I've seen it too many times. It's so bad though, but I mean, half the fun was watching John Cusack wondering what the hell he's doing in this film. You know, because he should not be here. And it's just funny to watch him wondering what he's doing. Well, what puts Q on this level? But it's just so ridiculous that you can really enjoy every city being destroyed one after another, because the plot's so ridiculous that you don't have to take it seriously at all. You just have to sit back and enjoy it, and it's wonderful. You know, the Folgers boys should watch this one for their channel. They really should. I'd love to see what they think of this one. Next we've got Godzilla King of the Monsters. This is a new Godzilla movie. This is a knowingly bad film in a weird way. It's knowingly absurd. Like, it knows the cliches. The guy who wrote it did Trick or Treat and Krampus. He likes playing with absurdities and genres and stuff like that. And there's a lot of stuff in this one that's taken from the old Godzilla movies that's knowingly absurd. That's to get you from one monster fight to the next monster fight. And the monster fights are all great. The humans you can do a lot less with. And they're a bit cheesy, but you get a feeling they're kind of intentionally cheesy. It's meant to be a bit of cheese. This one is the one that's most annoying. And this one I think knows it's cheesy. This one has no pretensions that it's anything other than cheese. You know. Again, it's a film I've seen countless times since it's been released. It hasn't been released that long ago, but I'm happy to watch it. I took my nephew to see it in the cinema and he loved it as well. It's pure cheese in every possible way, but it's so much fun. It's a Godzilla film. Godzilla fighting, you know, King Ghidorah, you know, and Rodan. I mean, what more do you want? You know, lots of monsters, lots of fights. It's very, very enjoyable. Now we have a Dracula film, Dracula AD 1972, which is where this is where Hammer kind of gave up the ghosts of the period films and went to modern day, because the budgets were going down, and even some of the later films that were meant to be set in the Victorian era looked a bit modern in some of the pavements and things. So at some point it was getting pretty hard to make these films. So also they wanted to modernise it and have like sex in it and things. So they brought Dracula back 100 years after he died. You know, facing up against, I guess, a descendant of Van Helsing. You know, dealing with the youth who are all ridiculous. They're all played by actors who are now 80. You know, you've got lots of just ridiculous bits of nonsense where, like it's based on the view of a youth of that day is what a middle-aged guy would think is youth talk, and the youth are ridiculous and they all die horribly, which is wonderful. It is utterly absurd. You've got a character called Aculard, who's Dracula spelled backwards, who's basically a guy who adores the idea of Dracula, and he's one who brings him back and through Black Mass and stuff. Peter Cushing turns up. He takes it seriously enough, but I think you can know that he knows his nonsense, but he's trying. And Peter Cushing's always good in these films, even when he's rubbish, he always gives good value. Christopher Lee's in it, but he's not in it that much. These two films made in the modern era, Satanic Rites of Dracula is much better. It's a much funner film, but it's probably actually too good to include in this list, even though it's cheesy as well, but it's actually a higher level. This one is pure cheese. AD 72 is pure cheese in every possible way. It's too silly for words. I really enjoy it. Now, of course, we had to have a Jaws sequel in here, because why not? Jaws 3D is wonderful, especially in 3D when you've got all the... Because Because the thing with this film is, it was spent a fortune on the effects, and the effects look terrible. You've got all these weird cutouts and things, and it's like, why is this? These cutouts of bits of shark floating at the screen. You've got these terribly matted sharks coming at you at the screen, which look terrible in 2D, but in 3D they look even faker. You know, you've got... It's a film that somehow does not want to kill any character off, even though many characters should die in it. It's a bit wimpy that way. It's a young Dennis Quaid, a young Leah Thompson, and a bunch of other kind of character actors, Luke Gossett Jr. in it, and it's utterly ridiculous. It basically is meant to be the two sons of Chief Brody from the first film, now grown up and now working in Sealand, and they're dealing with, you know, a new shark coming in, and, you know, it's utterly ridiculous. It's like basically a shark at this kind of paldy place, and they're meant to be eating all these people, but they don't. So if you want to see like sea creatures eating people, watch Piranha or the remake of Piranha, because that's where you have the mass carnage of people at these kind of parks who don't know any better than get out of the water. In this one, it threatens to do that, but shouldn't have to eat anybody, which makes it funnier and more fun because it's so pathetic. It's like it's scared of actually killing anybody. And you have all these young actors who have been given not much to do and are trying to survive the experience, and, you know, it just doesn't work. It's a total blasphemy through the windows of the original Jaws. Yeah, it's not the worst Jaws film, and Jaws 4, Jaws of Revenge, is so much worse. Jaws 4 ignored the events of this film, ignored them completely, then made a film much worse than this one. It's terrible, it's just so awful, but god damn it, I love this film. It's so terrible. Okay, the next one is a shout out to Ronan for Deep Rising. Deep Rising is a dumb film. It's lots of fun. It's basically a monster goes into a big cruise ship and eats lots of people. These savages, you've got these like mercs going onto the ship who are transported from this other mercenary who's just a, you know, sea captain. He takes them there, drops them off, and waits for them to do their mission. All hell breaks loose. They get involved in all these hijinks with this monster, try and kill the monster. Not everything is what it seems, apparently. Famke Janssen, early part of her career, she's the femme fatale in it. Treat Williams is the lead, which tells you how cheesy it's going to be. Stephen Summers, who did the Mummy films, directs it. This is a blast. This is so dumb, but it's a lot of fun. It really is dumb though. I mean, it's like all the plots you can see a mile away. You know, every action you can see coming a mile away, but it's enjoyably done because people making it know what film they're making, and you can enjoy the absurdity. Every little bit's absurd. They know it's absurd, and you can go along with it, no matter how silly it gets. And it gets really silly, but it's enjoyable. And as a cruise line actioner, it's so much better than Speed 2, which was released I think the same year as it. And this one's far superior. And this one kills most of the people on this cruise ship, but Speed 2 never did. So yeah, this one is a lot of fun. We're going to finish it off, number 10. The 10th of it is Hell Comes to Frogtown. You know, the direct-to-DVD, you know, Rowdy Roddy Piper. His other film of the era was They Live, which is now a classic. This one is less well respected, but you still get the Arrow releases and stuff, so it's still a good fun film. It is really enjoyable. It's one of the ones I'm putting up there was they know what film they were making. They knew what film they were making when they were making it. They knew they were making a low budget, kind of crass movie where the lead character was kind of an asshole throughout it. And they know it. He's kind of sexist. He deserves what he gets most of the time. He's one of the last few men with who can reproduce in the world. You know, he has to go and get some. All these frogs from Frogtown have stolen some of the fertile women. He has to go and rescue them so he can impregnate them, really, to try and rebuild the human race. It's as absurd as it sounds. Frogmen Rowdy Roddy Piper tried to save all these women, even though he's a bit of a scumbag. It's really low budget, but really enjoyable. It's another one I'd happily watch at any time. It's just so much fun. It is stupid though, I mean it is knowingly stupid, but you know, it's stupid in a good way. It's based in sci-fi pulp. Don't think of it too much, but just enjoy it for what it is. I hope you enjoyed this list. You know, it's a big silly fun video. I'm not trying to be too serious with this one. I'm just trying to give you some fun films if you want to watch something silly. That's all this video is. I hope you enjoyed it and I'll see you soon. Right, bye for now.